Listen to me. I know exactly where you are right now. You're looking around, looking at the guys who seem to have it all figured out. The guys who walk into a room and command respect without even trying. The guys who have their minds sharp, their bodies built, and their lives locked down. And you're wondering, when is it my turn? When does the big shift happen for me? Let me tell you a secret that most men never figure out. There is no big shift. There is no cinematic moment where lightning strikes and you suddenly wake up as the man you want to be. That is a lie sold to you by a world addicted to instant gratification. The truth? The truth is about the law of invisible vectors. Imagine two men standing shoulder to shoulder. They look exactly the same. They make the same money. They have the same background. They have the same potential. But one of them decides to shift his trajectory by just 1%. Just 1 degree. If you look at them tomorrow, they still look identical. If you look at them next week, you won't see a difference. But give it 6 months, give it a year, give it 5 years. That 1 degree shift compounds. It builds momentum. And eventually those two men end up oceans apart. One is a leader. The other is still exactly where he started, wondering what went wrong. This is about the microscopic choices you are making when absolutely nobody is watching. It's about what you do in the quiet hours. When your alarm goes off in the early morning and it's dark and the whole world is asleep, do you hit snooze and negotiate with your own weakness? Or do you get up, hit the iron, and build your physical foundation before the sun even rises? It's about how you protect your mind. Are you constantly scrolling, letting your brain get hijacked by the bright, colorful noise of a screen? Or do you strip it back? Do you turn the colors off, simplify your connections, and protect your sanctuary? Maybe it means putting the smartphone away entirely and relying on something basic, something that just makes calls, so you can actually hear your own thoughts again. Those choices, they are invisible. Nobody claps for you when you put your phone in another room. Nobody hands you an award when you pull your helmet visor down in the evening, taking a ride out onto the highway alone, just using that time to reflect and get your mind right instead of seeking cheap entertainment. Nobody sees that, but you see it. And more importantly, the man you are becoming is built entirely out of those invisible moments. Every single action you take is a vote for the type of man you wish to become. You don't build a habit to just check a box. You build it to change your identity. When you choose the harder path, when you choose discipline over comfort, you are silently telling yourself, I am a man who commands respect. I am a man who can be relied upon. You can't command respect in a room full of other men if you can't even command your own impulses. You can't be a pillar for your family or make your parents proud if your foundation is built on cheap dopamine and wasted hours. It starts right here, today. It starts with the absolute refusal to be average. It starts by taking control of the invisible vectors. You have to fall in love with the boredom of consistency. You have to learn to love the quiet grind, the reps, the pages read, the early mornings, the moments of absolute silence where you choose to work instead of escape. Stop waiting for a hero's journey. You are the architect of your own life, and every single choice you make today is laying a brick. So look at your hands, look at your life. What are you building? Because the clock is ticking, my friend. The compound effect is always working. The only question is it working for you or against you? So before we move forward, I am giving you a challenge. For the next 7 days, you are going to pick just one microscopic, invisible action to control. Just one. Do not try to change your entire life overnight. That is a trap. Maybe it's turning your smartphone screen completely to grayscale right now, so the digital noise stops hijacking your dopamine. Maybe it's deciding that you will not miss a single morning training session. You wake up, you hit the iron, and you set your physical baseline before the rest of the house is even awake. Or maybe it is just carving out 15 minutes of absolute, unbroken silence at your desk every single day to focus on your craft. Pick one standard, write it down on a physical piece of paper, and for the next 7 days, you do not miss. You track it. We are not looking for massive results this week. We are simply building the muscle of keeping a promise to yourself. Welcome to Chapter 2. Let me ask you a question. Why do most men fail when they try to build discipline? Why do they start strong for a week and then quietly slide right back into their old, comfortable habits? It's because they are playing the wrong game. They are starting from the outside in. Most guys look at their lives and set a goal based on a result. They say, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to be the guy who commands respect in my friend group. They are entirely focused on the outcome. But the outcome is just a lagging measure of your daily habits. Your weight is a lagging measure of how you eat. Your respect in a room is a lagging measure of how you carry yourself every single day. If you want to actually change your trajectory, you have to stop focusing on the result. You have to start from the inside out. You have to change your identity. True behavior change is identity change. You might start a habit because of motivation, but the only reason you will stick with it is because it becomes part of who you are. Think about the difference between two men trying to quit a bad habit. You offer them a distraction. The first man says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." Sounds reasonable, right? But he still believes he is the same person, just trying to do something different. He is relying on willpower, and willpower always runs out. The second man simply says, "No thanks, I don't do that." It is a tiny shift in words, but a massive shift in reality. He no longer identifies with the old behavior. You don't wake up early and hit the gym because you want to hit a specific number on the scale. You do it because you are a man of discipline. You are the kind of man who thrives in morning sessions. You don't put your phone away and isolate yourself in your workspace because you are forcing yourself to work. You do it because your focus is a sanctuary, and you are the kind of man who refuses to let cheap distractions inside. Every single action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. When you sit down to master a complex skill when you could be sleeping, you are casting a vote for mastery. When you hold your tongue and stay stoic when someone is arrogant towards you, you are casting a vote for unshakable emotional control. You do not need a unanimous vote to win an election. You just need a majority. You will have days where you slip. So here is your challenge for Chapter 2. It is simple, but it requires you to be brutally honest with yourself. I want you to take a physical piece of paper and write down the two most powerful words in the human language. I am. Do not write down what you want to achieve. Do not write, I want to get in shape, or I want to be respected. Write down the exact identity of the man you are stepping into. Write, I am a man who protects his time. Or, I am a man who stays stoic when people are loud. Or, I am a man who honors his word. Write that single sentence down and look at it. Now here is the actual challenge. Before your head hits the pillow tonight, I want you to cast one single, undeniable physical vote to prove that sentence is true. If you wrote that you are a man who protects his time, turn your phone off right now and put it in another room for the rest of the evening. If you wrote that you are a man of discipline, drop down and give yourself 50 push-ups right now. Do not just sit there, listen to this audio, and feel motivated. Motivation is cheap. Proof is everything. Decide who you are. Cast the vote. Prove it to yourself. Welcome to Chapter 3. Let's get one thing straight. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the reps. But there is a massive trap that breaks even the most dedicated men. The trap is believing that pure willpower is enough. It is the belief that if you just clench your jaw and battle your distractions through sheer mental strength every single day, you will eventually win. Listen to me. Willpower is finite. Every single time you use it to resist a distraction, or force yourself to do something hard, you drain the tank. By the end of the day, that tank is empty. And that is exactly when you break. That is when you skip the work, when you break your word to yourself, and when you settle for cheap comfort. You do not need more willpower. You need a better environment. The most disciplined men in the world are not fighting a mental war every single day. They do not sit at a desk covered in distractions and try to battle the urge to look at them. They simply eliminate the battle entirely. They are architects of their own reality. They build a sanctuary. Think about the space where you work or where you create. Is it designed for absolute focus, or is it a minefield? If your primary smartphone is sitting right next to your keyboard, bright, colorful, and buzzing with notifications, you are relying on pure willpower not to look at it. You are going to lose. But what if you change the environment? What if your smartphone was set to grayscale, making the screen completely uninteresting to look at? What if, when it was time to do deep work, you didn't even have a smartphone in the room? What if you only kept a basic, old-school feature phone on your desk, something that only makes calls, so your family could reach you in an emergency, but the digital noise is physically locked outside your door? That is not willpower, that is environmental design. When you rely on motivation, you are leaving your success up to how you feel on a random Tuesday. But when you build a clean, minimalist physical sanctuary, the environment does the heavy lifting for you. You do not have to negotiate with yourself. The right action becomes the path of least resistance. Sometimes, taking control of your environment means physically removing yourself from the noise. It might mean grabbing your helmet, pulling a dark visor down, and taking a solo ride out on the highway at dusk. Not to socialize, not to escape, but to simply ride, clear your head, and reset your internal system. That helmet is a portable sanctuary. Stop fighting temptation. Remove it. Make your bad habits incredibly difficult to access, and make your good habits effortless. You are either the architect of your environment, or you are a victim of it. So, here is your challenge for Chapter 3. I want you to look at the one area where you do your most important work. Your desk, your room, your studio, wherever it is. And I want you to perform a brutal physical audit. Identify the single biggest friction point that pulls you away from your focus. Is it a specific device? Is it physical clutter? Find the one thing that demands your willpower to ignore. Then, permanently remove it. Do not just push it to the edge of the desk. Move it to another room. Put it in a drawer. If it is a device, strip the color from the screen. If your workspace is messy, take 15 minutes right now and strip it down to the absolute bare essentials. Welcome to Chapter 4. Up until now, we have talked about your habits, your discipline, and building your physical sanctuary. We have focused heavily on what you can control. But if we stop there, if we only focus on the mechanics of discipline, everything we are building is entirely hollow. You need an anchor that is higher than yourself. Look around at what the modern world defines as success. We are told that the ultimate goal is to get rich, get famous, and have no rules. But let me be brutally honest with you. There are plenty of men out there with millions of dollars in the bank who are absolute pathetic losers. They have money, but they have no spine. They are spiritually bankrupt. They throw weird, degenerate parties. They are slaves to their own vices. And because they stand for absolutely nothing, they are easily manipulated and run over by the women they chase. We do not want that kind of success. Building an empire means nothing if the king sitting on the throne is hollow inside. If you want to reach your highest potential, if you want a life that actually commands genuine respect, you cannot be a man who lacks faith. You need to be a man of God. Whatever your religion is, whatever faith you follow, you must recognize that your strength, your breath, and your ability to wake up and pursue your goals are a gift. True strength does not come from arrogance. It comes from the quiet, unshakable confidence of knowing you are operating within God's blessing. When you kneel, when you bow your head, you are not showing weakness. You are showing ultimate alignment. You are acknowledging that you are part of a much larger order. A man who answers to God does not bend to the chaotic, degenerate noise of the modern world. He is untouchable because his standard is not set by other people. You do not need to be a monk living on a mountain to be spiritual. You just need to be deliberate. In the middle of the grind, between the early morning workouts, the deep work, and the focus, you have to carve out time to just say thank you. You do not need hours. 5 minutes of absolute, unbroken sincerity will change the entire frequency of your day. 5 minutes of acknowledging the Creator, thanking Him for the struggle, thanking Him for the discipline, and asking for the wisdom to carry your success with honor. If you build your life on faith, the success you achieve will actually last. It will be a success that you can pass down, a success that builds your family, and a success that brings peace instead of chaos. So here is your challenge for Chapter 4. It is the simplest challenge I am going to give you, but it is the most important. Sometime today, I want you to take exactly 5 minutes. Turn off the screens. Get away from the noise. You can do it sitting quietly in your room, or you can do it with your helmet visor down riding alone on the highway. Just find absolute silence. And for those 5 minutes, just pray. Do not ask for money. Do not ask for status. Just say thank you. Thank God for the foundation you are building. Ask for the strength to be a man of honor and the wisdom to not lose yourself when the success comes. Welcome to Chapter 5. Up until now, we have focused entirely on the internal. We built your mental sanctuary, we stripped away the digital noise, and we anchored your morning routine. But eventually, you have to open the door and walk out into the world. And the hard truth about the world is this: people decide exactly how much respect to give you long before you ever open your mouth. They do not read your mind, they read your body. Let's dive deep into the psychology of human presence. Your body language is a continuous broadcast of your internal state. If your mind is chaotic, anxious, or unanchored, your body will leak that weakness into the room. It starts the second you walk. Most men walk through life with a curved spine, their shoulders rolled forward, and their eyes glued to the floor or their phone. Psychologically, that is the posture of a defeated man. It signals to everyone around you that you are silently apologizing for taking up space. You have to fix this immediately. Roll your shoulders back. Keep your spine perfectly straight, as if a string is pulling you up from the top of your head. When you walk, walk with deliberate pacing. You are not rushing, and you are not dragging your feet. You move like a man who knows exactly where he is going, and you keep your chin parallel to the floor. Look straight ahead. This brings us to the most powerful tool of silent communication: your eyes. Why is it so absolutely crucial to hold eye contact when you speak to someone? Because the eyes are the primary indicator of conviction. When you dart your eyes around the room or look down when you are talking, you are silently telling the other person that you do not believe your own words. You are handing over your power. When you speak to someone, whether it is a stranger or a close friend, you look them directly in the eye. You don't stare at them like a weirdo trying to intimidate them. You simply hold a firm, calm gaze. It shows that you are present, you are listening, and you are entirely comfortable in the natural tension of a conversation. And let's talk about how you look at women. Most guys get this completely wrong. They either stare aggressively from across the room, which makes them look like a creep, or the moment a beautiful girl looks their way, they immediately drop their eyes to their shoes in a panic. Both project massive insecurity. When you make eye contact with a woman, do not flinch. Do not dart your eyes away like a frightened kid. You simply hold the gaze for a brief second, maybe offer a very subtle, relaxed nod, and then casually look away on your own terms. It is not a dominance game, it is just a quiet acknowledgement. It projects supreme comfort and respect, both for her and for yourself. Now, let's look at the ultimate secret of powerful body language: physical stillness. Pay attention to what your hands are doing right now. When you are in a conversation, do you fidget? Do you pick at your nails, touch your face, rub your neck, or constantly shift your weight from one leg to the other? In the deep psychology of the animal kingdom, prey twitches. Predators stay still. Movement without purpose is a physical leak of anxiety. If your hands are constantly moving while you talk, you are subconsciously trying to physically release nervous energy. It tells the other person that you are uncomfortable in your own skin. You have to learn how to be completely still. When you are standing and talking to someone, let your hands rest calmly by your sides. If you use your hands to emphasize a point, make the gestures slow, controlled, and deliberate, and then bring them right back to center. Do not rush your movements. When you master physical stillness, people will naturally feel a heavy, grounded gravity around you. You will command the room without raising your voice. So, here is your challenge for Chapter 5. For the next 24 hours, I want you to become hyper-aware of your physical broadcast. Whenever you walk through a doorway, any doorway, at home, at the gym, or at a store, use that frame as your physical trigger. The moment you step through, pull your shoulders back, straighten your spine, and lift your chin. And the next time you have a conversation with a stranger today, whether it is the person handing you your coffee or someone passing you on the street, you are going to look them directly in the eye, hold your hands completely still, and speak with a calm, unhurried voice. Stop apologizing for your presence. Claim your space. Welcome to Chapter 6. We need to talk about the two most dangerous traps that will derail your potential faster than anything else: chasing validation and chasing women. Let's start with validation. It is a completely natural human urge to want to be seen. You put in the work and you want someone to acknowledge it. I understand that. But the moment you start working just to get applause, you become a slave to the audience. If you are an artist and you lock yourself in your studio, pouring your soul into your art, do not beg people to listen to it just so you can feel good about yourself. Do not compromise your frequency just to get a few more streams or likes. Trust your gut, trust your instinct, and let the art speak for itself. If you are a business owner, do not build your business just so you can show off your lifestyle to people who do not even care about you. When you chase validation, you hand over your internal power to strangers. You don't need to ask people what is right or wrong. You know what is right. Build in the dark. Keep your standards high. But there is a second trap, and it destroys more young men than anything else. As a young man, you have a raging fire inside you. Your blood is racing, and you have a natural, biological urge to pursue women. I am not here to shame you for that. I am completely sympathetic to it. It means you are healthy, and it means you are a man. But there is a massive difference between being a man and being a desperate hunter chasing a shadow. Do not chase women. Look around at what is happening to guys today. They put a girl on a pedestal, they abandon their goals to chase her, and they get into these toxic relationships. The girl uses them for attention, drains their energy, and throws them away. And what happens? These guys completely collapse mentally. They lose their edge. They turn to drugs. They fall into depression, and they completely ruin their lives. And then the cycle just repeats. Do not be that guy. The modern world is full of these so-called love gurus, selling day boot camps and night boot camps. They tell young men to go walk around malls harassing strangers, or to go stand in loud, degenerate clubs at midnight to practice their game and collect phone numbers. It is absolutely pathetic. Let me give you a universal rule. Whatever you chase runs. When your entire mindset is focused on chasing, you are operating from a place of scarcity and desperation. You will never attract the highest possible quality. You are only going to attract something that will keep you unfulfilled or worse, something that will completely destroy your peace. You must take that raw, aggressive energy and transmute it. Put it into the iron at the gym. Put it into your business. Put it into your mindset, your skills, and your hobbies. Build yourself into a mountain. Does this mean you should never talk to girls? Absolutely not. If you take your laptop, go to a cafe, and sit down with the pure intention of doing deep work for your business, you are on your purpose. If you happen to look up and see a beautiful girl, and you naturally bump into each other, go ahead and say hi. Do not be shy. Acknowledge your manhood and talk to her. Because in that moment, you are not chasing. The universe is aligning that interaction for you because you were already on your path. You did not go to that cafe to hunt for a girlfriend. You went there to work, and life simply happened. If a connection happens naturally while you are on your purpose, go for it. Later in this audiobook, I will give you a dedicated, elaborate breakdown on exactly how to talk to women confidently and with absolute dignity. But for now, all you need to know is this: stop chasing. Let it happen for you naturally. Put all of that raw energy into building yourself as a man and refuse to lower your standards. So here is your challenge for Chapter 6. For the next 48 hours, I want you to completely starve your need for validation. You are going to do something difficult, a heavy workout, a deep creative session, or a massive push in your business. And you are going to tell absolutely nobody about it. You are not going to post it on social media. You are not going to text a friend about it. You are not going to look for a pat on the back. You are going to do the work simply because it is your standard, and you are going to let the silence be your reward. Prove to yourself that you don't need applause to execute. Welcome to Chapter 7. We have talked about cutting out the noise, starving your need for validation, and focusing entirely on your own path. Now we have to talk about the armor you wear while you walk that path. We need to talk about non-negotiable confidence. Listen to me carefully. In this world, you have to decide exactly who you are, and then you have to start behaving exactly like that man today. You cannot wait for permission to be confident. You cannot wait for a specific level of success, a certain amount of money, or a certain status before you finally decide to believe in yourself. You have to be crazy confident right now, in whatever you do and in whatever situation you find yourself in. When you start moving with this kind of unshakable certainty, something very predictable is going to happen. Average people are going to get uncomfortable. They are going to look at you and say that you are arrogant. They are going to whisper that you are overconfident. When that happens, I want you to smile, because that is excellent. When someone calls you overconfident, it has absolutely nothing to do with you. It is simply a reflection of their own deep insecurities. Your high standard is triggering their low standard. Your certainty is highlighting their doubt. Let me give you a universal truth. A genuinely confident man will never judge another person's confidence. Never. A man who truly believes in himself does not look down on anyone who is trying to build themselves up. Real kings do not tear down other kings. They respect the fire. The only people who will try to make you feel bad for believing in yourself are the ones who have given up on their own potential. So let them talk. You do not lower your frequency to make weak people feel comfortable. You must carry a non-negotiable belief in your own value. When you walk into a room, you assume you belong there. When you speak as if your words have heavy weight. When you sit down to work on your craft, you trust your instincts completely. You do not second-guess yourself, and you do not apologize for taking up space. Confidence is not about knowing you will be right all the time. It is about knowing that even if you fail, you are still the man, and you will figure it out. It is a baseline reality that you simply refuse to negotiate. So, here is your challenge for Chapter 7. For the next 24 hours, I want you to completely eliminate weak language from your vocabulary. I want you to stop using words that diminish your presence. Stop saying, I think, maybe, or I'm sorry, but. Stop asking for permission to speak your mind. If you have an opinion, state it as a fact. If you make a decision, stand by it without nervously explaining yourself to everyone around you. Speak like a man who is absolutely certain of who he is. Command your words. Welcome to Chapter 8. In the last chapter, we built your non-negotiable confidence. We built the armor you need to walk through the world without waiting for anyone's permission. But here is the reality. If you want that internal confidence to actually last, it has to be reflected on the outside. If your mind is sharp, but your physical presentation is a mess, the world will treat you like a mess. And eventually, your internal confidence will collapse under that weight. You have to keep your physical attire in check. Let me kill a massive excuse right now. Your genetics do not dictate your presence. It absolutely does not matter what your skin color is. It does not matter if you are short or if you are tall. It doesn't matter if you have long hair, short hair. It does not matter if you can grow a thick, full beard or if your face is completely bare. None of that matters. What matters is that you maximize exactly what you have. Let's start with your face. You do not need a complicated 1,000-step routine to make your skin look good. You just need a basic, disciplined system. In the morning, you cleanse your face with a simple face wash, apply a lightweight moisturizer, and put on sunscreen. Do not negotiate with the sunscreen. Every time you step outside, you wear it. In the night, your routine is just as simple. You cleanse your face to get the dirt off, and then you apply a serum. I am going to give you a very specific recommendation here, and this is not a sponsorship. I am telling you this because I have personally used it, and I have seen the real results on my own face. The serum you need is from a brand called The Ordinary. You apply that, follow it up with your moisturizer, and you go to sleep. You let your skin heal and do the work while you rest. That is it. Keep it simple, but never miss a day. Next, let's talk about your wardrobe. You do not need to chase trends. You do not need the newest, flashiest clothes with massive designer logos plastered all over them. True style is about fit, cleanliness, and mastering the basics. Your foundational wardrobe only needs a few things: one crisp white t-shirt, two solid black t-shirts, one clean black button-down shirt, and three well-fitting pairs of jeans. If you want to build your wardrobe up later and add tailored suits, you can. But the absolute golden rule of dressing like a man is this: every single time you step out of your house, your clothes must be clean and they must be ironed. Do not ever walk out the door with wrinkles all over your clothes. A cheap, perfectly ironed black t-shirt will always command more respect than a wrinkled, expensive designer shirt. The same exact rule applies to your shoes. You need to wear clean shoes, period. Do not be that guy who still thinks it is cool to walk around in white Nike sneakers that have faded into a dirty, yellowish color just because there is a swoosh on the side. Don't be that guy. If your shoes are stained and you cannot wash them to make them look completely clean again, throw them in the trash. Buy yourself a new, clean pair of sneakers. They do not have to be an expensive brand. We are not trying to impress a sneakerhead. We are making sure our physical presentation matches the high standard of the confidence we are building. Finally, lock in your grooming. Find a barber who knows how to cut your hair according to the actual shape of your face and get a clean haircut regularly. And before you walk out the door, apply a good cologne that you genuinely like. Spray it strategically, twice around your neck, twice on the inside of your elbows, and on your wrists. When you do these things consistently, you stop having to try to be confident. The confidence we build in Chapter 7 will just naturally reflect off you before you even speak a word. So here is your challenge for Chapter 8. Tonight, before your head hits the pillow, I want you to go to your closet. Pick out the exact outfit you are going to wear tomorrow, and I want you to iron it. Iron the shirt, iron the pants, and lay them out so they are perfectly crisp and ready for the morning. Then go look at the shoes you plan to wear. If they are dirty, take 10 minutes right now and scrub them clean. Do not leave your physical presentation up to a rushed morning decision. Prepare your armor tonight. Welcome to Chapter 9. We have spent this entire journey building your armor. We have locked in your environment, your confidence, your faith, and your physical presence. You know exactly what you need to do, and you know exactly who you need to be. But right now, you might be looking at the massive mountain of work ahead of you and feeling paralyzed. This is the final trap. You look at the grand vision, the successful business, the perfect physique, the finished art, and the gap between where you are and where you want to be feels so incredibly huge that your brain panics. You feel the starting fear, and because the task feels too big, you don't even take the first step. We are going to destroy that fear right now by making the start ridiculously, embarrassingly easy. If you want to move a machine that is completely shut down, you don't immediately throw it into the highest gear. You give it a tiny spark. You lay down a trail of breadcrumbs, one single piece at a time, just to get the wheels turning. You have to trick your own brain. Your brain does not fear the work itself. Your brain only fears the start. So you are going to lower the barrier to entry until it is impossible to say no. You are going to give yourself permission to do the absolute bare minimum just to cross the starting line. If you are writing a book, do not sit down and tell yourself you need to write a masterpiece today. That is too heavy. Tell yourself you are just going to write one messy, terrible paragraph. That is it. If you feel good after that paragraph, you keep going. If you know you need to train, but you are exhausted, do not tell yourself you are going to do a brutal 2-hour workout. Tell yourself you are just going to put your gym shoes on and walk into the weight room for exactly 10 minutes. If you want to leave after 10 minutes, you can. If you need to get moving but the couch feels too comfortable, tell yourself you are just going outside to walk for 5 minutes. If you are building a business and the workload is overwhelming, just promise yourself you will sit at your desk and look at your analytics for 5 minutes. 9 times out of 10, the magic happens the second you cross the threshold. Once you write that messy paragraph, you end up writing 3 pages. Once you are in the gym for 10 minutes and your blood starts flowing, you end up staying for an hour. Once you look at the business analytics, your mind locks in and you end up working all evening. You just have to bypass the starting fear. Momentum is a physical law. An object at rest stays at rest, but an object in motion stays in motion. Do not worry about the finish line. Just engineer the first step. So here is your challenge for Chapter 9. Take the single most difficult task you have been putting off this week. Break it down until the first step takes less than 2 minutes to complete. Tomorrow morning, do not think about the whole project. Just execute those 2 minutes. Get in motion and let the momentum carry you. Welcome to Chapter 10, the final chapter. Take a moment and look back at the foundation you have just built. You understand the law of invisible vectors. You know that the man you are becoming isn't built in one massive cinematic moment. He is built entirely by the unglamorous reps, the early alarms, the clean clothes, the quiet hours of work, and the days you simply choose discipline over cheap comfort. You have stopped trying to rely on willpower, and instead you have become the architect of your own environment. You have established a morning anchor that protects your focus, and you have realized that true, lasting success requires you to be a man of faith, grounded in gratitude. You know how to stand, how to look people in the eye, and how to hold your ground with unshakable stillness. You have stopped chasing validation from strangers, and you have stopped chasing women, choosing instead to transmute that fire into building your own empire. And you now hold the tactical key to bypassing fear by making your starting steps effortless. You have the blueprint. But a blueprint is just a piece of paper until you actually pour the concrete. Listening to this audio does not make you a disciplined man. Action makes you a disciplined man. And before we part ways, I need to tell you the hardest truth about this journey. It is going to get lonely. When you raise your standard to this level, you are going to outgrow people. You are going to lose friends who only wanted the old, unmotivated, comfortable version of you around. When you stop going to degenerate parties, when you stop wasting your weekends, and when you start guarding your time like your life depends on it, people will call you obsessed. They will say you have changed. Let them. Isolation is not a punishment. Isolation is a gift. It is the necessary space you need to build your empire in the dark. Do not lower your frequency just to fit back into a room you have already outgrown. The real test does not begin when you feel motivated. The real test begins on a random, rainy Tuesday morning when you are tired, when no one is watching. It begins when the silence of your room feels heavy and every single cell in your body is begging you to hit the snooze button and take the easy way out. That is the moment you have to decide if everything we just talked about was just entertainment or if it is your new reality. You are going to stumble. You are human. You will have days where you miss your morning routine. You will have moments where you lose your confidence or where you accidentally slip back into old habits. When that happens, do not panic. Do not let one bad day compound into a bad month. A slip is not a failure unless you refuse to get back up. When the noise of the world gets too loud, when you feel yourself drifting off your path, I want you to remember that this guide is always here. You don't have to figure it all out again from scratch. You just have to come back to this audiobook. Hit play on chapter 1, listen to it again, reset your mind, and lay the first brick all over again. The clock is ticking. The compound effect is working right now. Step into the man you are meant to be. The world is waiting for you.